Over the past few years, the horror game scene has become extremely saturated with mascot horror garbage, but there's also been a rise in truly masterful horror experiences that have revolutionised this industry and have made something genuinely scary. So, as I've basically become a horror game scholar these past few months, I thought I would break down and explain my 9 favourite horror games of all time. These games are some of the most creative and scary experiences that deserve way more attention and recognition. And I won't go into any major spoilers for any of these games, so you can still experience them mostly blind and have an amazing experience when you decide to play it. So sit back, grab some popcorn, and get engrossed into a world of fear and horror. Okay, wait, now I know what you're thinking. Weren't you just slagging off mascot horror games in the beginning, yet you've just included one on your list? This game isn't just a mascot horror game, as there's actually some passion and soul behind it. You mainly see this in the art direction, because each part of this game is absolutely terrifying and gritty in the pixel art reminiscent of those 90s retro video games, like the SNES or the Sega Mega Drive. Anyway, the main mechanic of this game is a noise meter. You need to do a task, that task makes noise. If there's too much noise, then FUCKING RUN! As Purple Guy, Spring Bonnie, Trap Guy, or whatever they call him now, is coming to chase you, and you have to hide. And while hiding, you're given a minigame, and if you fail it, well... It's pretty safe to say that this game is genuinely scary and stands out from all the other garbage. Coming in next is Bendy and the Dark Revival. Being a direct sequel to Bendy and the Ink Machine, this game improved heavily over the first game in a huge way before even starting to play it. You see, in Bendy and the Ink Machine, the game released with one chapter as it was a small indie game, and you would then wait as all 5 chapters were released individually over not even 2 years, which is actually crazy, because I remember the wait between chapters was agonizing. When actually looking back, I wasn't even 10 years old, and so time probably moved way slower. Anyway, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, the biggest strength of Bendy and the Dark Revival is that you have all 5 chapters at your fingertips from the beginning. The full completed game ready to play. The vibes in this game are amazing, and it's just creepy and a wonderful experience, especially for fans of the original game. It's just more Bendy with better quality and is built upon a lot of the last game, and it's a very unique experience. OneShot is not a horror game by any means, so why is it on this list? Well, it has horror elements as this game basically takes over your computer, and not in like the weird wanky way that other games do, like in a genuinely scary and interesting and makes sense, you know? You see, OneShot is meant to be a commentary and exploration of how the fourth wall functions in video games, and the barrier between the fictional world and the real world, and also a relationship with characters and fictional universes through the suspension of disbelief. Now you may be thinking, what the fuck did you just say? And if you're thinking that, then it proves that you are mentally stable. You also must be thinking, but how is that scary? Well, the game breaks the fourth wall by having your computer function as part of the story. It uses your real name from your computer, it minimizes the game and talks to you on Windows pop-up, it changes your wallpaper, and it's just an unsettling and creepy experience. These methods do effectively cross that barrier between fiction and reality, as our computer is a real thing that interacts with fictional worlds. So for the fictional world and the computer to become one and the same, makes for an unsettling and immersive experience. Hey, also a quick reminder to subscribe, because these videos take a lot of time to make, so if you could subscribe, it helps me out so much, and allows me to make way better videos. Anyway, on with the video. That was a joke. What the fuck? Now you may be thinking, really, Phasmophobia this far up? And to that I say yes, this is my list, my video essay, I can be it wherever I want! Now, as a multiplayer game, this is more of a funny experience, but when you play it alone, it is completely different. Each part of this game is designed to unsettle you, and takes everyday settings like houses and makes them terrifying by adding ghosts. But they didn't do much at the start of the game, and most of the horror is psychological and relies off the dread and anticipation of something scary happening. And actually, there's not much to be afraid of here. The journey is much more scary than the destination. The journey being the ambience and build-up, and the destination being get murdered, which isn't as good as a payoff. Although a jump scare being there instead would just be obnoxious. The gameplay, however, is really fun. As someone with a slight interest in ghost hunting and the paranormal, I find this game to be extremely interesting. And the main gameplay loop fixes a problem most horror games have, which is, what do you actually do besides being scared? As most games, upon removing the horror, it's just a boring game with nothing to do. While Phasmophobia has actually interesting mechanics that makes me interested in playing. Like, even if this game was not scary, it still would be fun to play as you're evaluating and whittling down the list of what ghost it could be. And it's just really fun, and that combined with the horror of this game creates for a thrilling experience. Nightwatch is a game developed by longtime horror game dev puppetcombo, and it is an incredible experience. The game sees you take the role of a fire lookout and is developed in the style of PS1 fixed camera angle games with tank controls. This game is a love letter to the slasher genre of the 80s, and pays homage by the use of various tropes. The camera angles also make it feel more like a movie than a game, again making it feel like those 80s slasher movies. All is good in your fire lookout until you get a strange disturbance on the radio. And then while playing a game, there's a knock on the door, so you go and look, but there's no one there. Turns out this was all a dream, and then you wake up and are contacted by some troubled hikers believing something, or someone, weird as out in the woods. And so you have to help them, and it ends up turning out even creepier than you could imagine. This game is part of the universe that puppetcombo has built over the years, and gives a lot of context and further insights on points established in his other games. Anyway, on to the next in the list. If this game was a movie, it'd be a Firewatch. You may be thinking two things right now. One, how is this game even on this list? And two, why is it so high up on this list? That's an extremely good question, and there's like 60 video essays answering the same thing. But believe me when I say, if you can play this game blind, please do. Not like blind as in you can't see, because then you miss a lot of the gameplay, but blind as in no spoilers, because not only is the story thrilling and engaging, but it will make you so extremely scared. Firewatch is a game where you watch for fires, to put it simply, but while you watch for fires, someone is also watching you. The horror in this game relies on the fear of the mind, and how your mind creates things way scarier than the reality, and this game plays off it perfectly. Never has there been a game that's made me more paranoid than this one, just looking out there upon the nature and thinking that you could be being watched, and that you could be missing something, or someone. Alright, before I begin this bit, I want to preface this by saying the developers of this game did reach out to me and ask me to cover this game. However, these opinions are all my own entirely. Now, you may be wondering, just what is this game? Well, Helldive is a relatively niche indie game that sees you in a submarine and going through creepy facilities, and it is incredibly scary. Like, genuinely, I can't begin to explain just how scary this game is, as there's a reason it's this far up on the list. I want to keep this relatively spoiler-free, as I would feel so bad to ruin the hard work of the developers by spoiling stuff in the game, so I'll just talk about the opening of it. You're on a strange submarine, similar to Iron Lung, except you naturally leave your submarine, and it's super scary. You're in what looks like a creepy slaughterhouse, with a dead animal on the table. You need to look for a keycard, and in doing so you have to navigate this creepy facility. However, unlike most horror games, you actually have a really good and working flashlight. You then open one of the doors and there's just dead animals everywhere. Then you go to sort out what looks like a computer server room. Then upon returning to the room, this happens. This genuinely scared me so much, and this is just such an incredible experience. Now, this may make you eager to play it, however the game does not release until January 7th, and the developers gave me an early access copy of the game to play it for this video. I'll leave the link in the description so you can wishlist it, please do. I know I haven't been told or paid to shield this game so hard, so go check out this game, support the developers, and now on with the list.
Fucking hell!
My second favourite horror game on this list has to be Killer Frequency, and while it's not as scary as other games on this list, the rankings on this list isn't purely based on just being scary alone, but also the story, the experience, the vibes, and the game as a whole, and this game nails all of it. You're a radio host named Forrest Nash in the town of Gallows Creek. During your radio show 189.16, The Scream, you're interrupted by a police officer. She says that there's a serial killer called the Whistling Man, and he's returned after 30 years and is now back terrorizing the town. It's revealed that the name of this serial killer, Luigi Mangione. She needs to go get backup, so you're stuck running the 911 phone lines live on air. So throughout the night, you have to save each caller from the Whistling Man by talking to them over the radio to help them escape. And while you do so, you uncover an amazing story behind it all, linking each and every victim together. But what actually makes it scary? Well, for most of the game, you can find to your office, but those moments where you have to leave your office are tense and scary. The comfort of your office fades and is replaced with dread, as all the chill vibes and music is replaced by grey and dim visuals, and creepy and monotone audio, creating a frightening juxtaposition. Coming in at number 1, we have the GOAT of modern horror games, Fears to Fathom. Oh wow, where do I even begin? The Fears to Fathom games are seriously some of the best and most thoughtfully made horror games to come from this new generation. Basically, Fears to Fathom takes people's real life, scary and disturbing experiences and makes them into horror games, and as you can imagine, it's absolutely terrifying. It's all so realistic as well, with mundane actions like eating and pissing. Yep, you can piss in the game. No, I swear it's not weird, it's like actually a good game. But all those realistic actions help you get immersed into the horror experience, and it helps link in with the fact that this happened to real people in real life, and could even happen to you. The horror here isn't anything supernatural or absurd, as it's based fully in reality, which is why I think it's absolutely terrifying. And as the protagonist of one of the game puts it, monsters really do exist, and every single one of them looks just like you or me. And on the off chance you're completely blind to the series, play it right now. The first episode is free on Steam, and if you don't have a PC, there's an official remake of the first episode on Roblox for free. And the 4th episode has been recently released on PlayStation, which is an absolute masterpiece, and is, in my opinion, is the best episode of the series. And I would highly recommend checking out these games, whether you're playing them yourself or watching someone else play it. In conclusion, every single game on this list is worthy of a playthrough, and while some of these games are better than the others, they're all just so good, and even if they may not succeed at being a horror game, they most definitely succeed in other aspects, as some of the games on these lists aren't focused on being scary, and more on being fun and telling a story, like Firewatch or OneShot, while other games like Fears to Fathom have the whole game fully scripted out, and carefully planned on how to make you absolutely terrified. However, it does mean it loses nearly all replay value, as you know what's going to happen on the second playthrough. If you've watched this far, don't forget to subscribe, because genuinely it helps you out so much. and it allows me to make way better videos. And even if you think subscribe, just check, because it means so much. Thank you so much for all the love and support this year, and I'm so excited for 2025. More video essays, more frequently uploaded. Next year is going to be absolutely mental. So for the last time this year, thanks for watching.